When I first started my business, the people around me didn't exactly cheer. Some doubted, some laughed, and some stayed silent. But I also knew that they were just talking behind my back. I could literally feel the judgment inside of me. And I just kept asking myself, what if they're right? What if I fail? What if it's just not worth putting the effort into what I do? What if I did and undoubtedly did someone wrong? But to be honest, that's the reality of growth. Criticism and just jealousy will always be there. If it's the family who are just trying to protect you, if it's someone who you're competing with and who would rather want to see you fail, or if it's that voice inside of you who's just doubting if the things you're going to set out to do, if you're really able to achieve them. But the question is not if this negativity is going to show up, it's what to do when it does. So in this video I'm not going to talk about ignoring haters or just pretending that those outside talk is not going to hurt. What I'm going to talk about today is about building a mindset that just makes you bulletproof. It's like building colors. And it's not only about being arrogant, but just clear, with intention. Not just reactive and being very loud when you hear those people talk and trying to counterattack, but playing those things in a strategic manner. Over time, I would say over the last year, I've collected lessons on this topic from Alfred Adler to the Stoics, neuroscience, entrepreneurship, and today I blended them with my own experiences. So I would just say, let's start to just walk through them. So I want to start today with talking about the insights on this topic from Alfred Adler. And I first came in contact with Alfred Adler when I read the book, The Courage to be Disliked. And Alfred Adler has a principle which he talks the separation of tasks. And what the separation of tasks is that there are things which are your task and there are their tasks. And just let me give you an example. My task would be my growth, my choices, my values, my intentions, all of these things. But then there's also their tasks. And their tasks are, let's say, their opinions, their judgments, their emotions, and all of those things. So let's say when I told my family I was moving abroad, they just worried and criticized me. That was their task. Obviously it's rooted in their fears that I'm messing up, that I'm getting myself in danger. But what was my task in that manner was to just follow through, follow the growth and don't regress into something worse. And this is a very important framework because it just frees you from people pleasing. Because the next time someone questions your decision, you can ask yourself, is changing their mind my task or theirs? And I'm speaking with a lot of history on this topic because I can tell you that I was a very, very big people pleaser. I can go back to, let's say, primary school, and in primary school I would say that I was myself. But then the problem is that I was bullied in primary school, and from then on, let's say from age 10 to 18, what I did was I put on a mask. So because I recognized, because I was bullied, that people don't like me for the person I am, I started to play and become someone else. So I started to be the class clown. I started to always crack jokes in class so people would maybe like me, which was cool. But then people don't like me for the person I was, but just the person I was playing to be. And yes, this worked for those years. I can confidently say that I was good with most people, but how many of them were, like, let's say, real friends? And it's funny because I remember that a guy has written me that I should be myself and don't worry what other people think of me and be authentic. And now that I would confidently say that I'm my most authentic self since years, the circle has become very small. So this is a very important thing to just recognize. What's your task? What's their task? Another good framework is, I would call it the Stoic filter. And this is from Marcus Aurelius. And Marcus Aurelius wrote in his famous book, The Meditations, you have power over your mind, not outside events. So it's very simple. Is this within my control? Would I trade life with this critic? If the answer is no, why give their words weight? Very basic. There are things which are in your control and there are things which are not in your control. And let's say, would you swap places with this person? Let's say you get criticized. But yes, if you would switch with this person, cool, take it. But then those people also they have their opinions and you're not able to change them. And this is when we come to the next one, which I'll call the commitment consistency trap. And this is linked to a bias, the commitment bias, the confirmation bias. And what people do is, once they commit to a belief about you, they just defend it on all costs. And then it's not about the truth anymore, it's just about confirming them and about their ego. So people start to become very irrational when it comes to this, because they form a belief on you as a person, and then they only search for things to confirm this belief, but not for things which would maybe don't align with their belief that they've set out to. So that's just human nature. You're not able to change it, but it's very important then to just recognize that it's the case. Another thing which I think is a very good principle is growth versus regression. That is very simple. Is this thing which I change moving me closer to my authentic goals, or is it pulling me back into conflict? And that's what growth looks like. It's setting boundaries, protecting your focus, and just leveling up your circle. And what's regression? It's people-pleasing, hiding your real opinions, sliding back into old habits. And what's the tricky thing is, you want to go back to your old environment, you want to go back to those friends. But the thing is, it's just not aligned anymore, because you have different goals, you have different values, you have different dreams. And then the thing is, people call that arrogance, people call that egotism, but it's not. Sadly, it's just growth. And this is a sad thing, because to most people you probably don't have any grudge. Like, you don't want anything bad to happen to those people, but because you're trying to do something different, maybe they cannot be in your inner circle anymore, because you need to protect your focus on all cost. But then from the outside it maybe seems like you think that you're something better than they, but it's just that you are on different paths, which is totally fine. But then from the outside, those people are not able to see it as, let's say, I see it. Let's talk more about taking advice from other people. So let's see, when I hear advice from people I love, let's say my mom, because I also think that she's going to see this video. The thing I had to learn is, some of it is gold which you're going to hear, but some of it is just awfully bad. Not because they don't care, but because they're only hypothesizing without the full picture of where I'm going. They only see the surface, the shallow level, but they don't see the deeper vision, let's say. I'm very sorry, Mama, but yes, I love you, but growth means filtering. So it's taking the wisdom, leaving the noise. Because if you take every word that you hear to your heart, you start to live the life of different people, but not your own life. And the very important thing is, like I just said, in this area of life, do I want to become like this person? If so, yes, take all of their advice, please do it. And it's also good then, let's say, to have very extreme examples. My mentors, when it comes to the business realm, very extreme personalities, but they are good people to strive for. So when it comes to the business realm, I'm probably going to take all of the advice from them. But then this doesn't mean that you need to align with a person on all levels. So maybe on the, on the fitness side, on the, let's say, happiness side, I'm maybe going to take advice from other people. But then it's always questioning, do I want to become like this person? If not, fuck them, don't take their advice. Another good thing to do to just don't let this noise come to you is, don't build in public, keep your plans quiet. And this brings me to just talking about Odysseus. And I got this from Chris Williamson. So Odysseus, when he came back to Ithaca, he didn't announce his return. So what he did is he disguised himself, he worked quietly, and then when it came time to string the bow, which only he could draw, he showed the people the results. So what does this principle mean? It's execution and then announcement. And I've also played big on this one, because when I started to travel and when I started to post more on social media, people start to notice it. People start questioning, oh, did I win the lottery? Is it luck? Do I have rich parents? Because they didn't see what I've put in. They didn't see the months that I've just worked my ass off, the months that I didn't socialize a bit to get to where I am now. But that's Odysseus. And last off, I would just say, not every criticism, you cannot put every criticism into the same bucket. What I mean with that is, there's constructive criticism, there's uninformed criticism, and then there's jealous criticism. So you always need to, if you hear people talking bad about you, if you hear people criticizing you, always put it in one of those buckets. And then constructive one, cool, take it, it sharpens you. Uninformed, it distracts you. And then jealous ones, it just drains you and makes you feel as you are a villain, which probably you're just not. Let me close it off this way. So every shift in history, every leap forward from a famous person, every personal breakthrough, they are all being met by resistance. And whatever you do, if you pursue great things, if you stay in your line, if you move out of your hometown, if you stay in your hometown, if you want to be exceptional, if you want to be mediocre, you're going to be criticized. But then, now that you have the right tools, that you have this task separation, the stoic filters, that you're able to recognize traps, that you're able to choose growth, the quiet execution, you just stop fighting this noise and you're going to start focus on the progress, which in the end is the thing which matters, because that's what you're optimizing for. You're optimizing for your authentic self, personal growth, and not for the opinion of others. Because if you start to optimize for the opinion of others, you're always going to be in a hamster wheel, because you make one person happy, you're going to make another one unhappy. So criticism is just a static thing. It's consistent. It's a thing which is not going to away. It's promised in life. And the only thing which then matters are your actions, not their words. You just need to live your story and let those people become bystanders in your story. So the next time that someone doubts you, either in the internet, criticizes you in person, talks behind your back, you need to pause and ask yourself, is this my task? Is it their task? Would I trade life with this person? Is it feedback? Is it jealousy? And then just move forward with clarity. Live like Odysseus. And this is how, in the end, you're building resilience and you're being your authentic self. And in the end, this is how you build confidence. And in the end, you need to have the authentic confidence, because I try to live by the people-pleasing confidence, which then works for a while maybe, but then it maybe works for your peers. But go approach some other business owners and start to make some deals, which probably in that case, your confidence will fall down. And this was also when I started to work more on my real confidence. When I started to, maybe I can also add a picture here, I went bald. Because I recognized that people don't care as much about me as I think they do, and then also my looks don't matter as much as I think they do. Which was a very nice thing to do, and every young man I would recommend to going bald at least one time. Because in the end it's very simple, and I can confidently say that I wish every person their best, even if this person is in my life anymore, or if this person is not. But then probably they are not in my life, don't because I have a grudge against them, but because we're not aligned on a level, which is totally cool. I have my views, I have my opinions, I have my judgments, they do have theirs. I do have maybe a other political stance as they do. Obviously I do. It would be dumb if I didn't, just because I am on a different path. I'm trying to be very, very, let's say, on the entrepreneurship side. Obviously, I cannot vote the same party as someone who would just work a normal job do. Obviously, because then I am very dependent on economic, I'm very dependent on capitalism. Obviously, I cannot vote for the left then. So, 100% I'm going to make a video where I talk very in depth about different biases and different ways our brain tricks ourselves. I hope this video was valuable. I just did a very big rant. Maybe I don't have the structure that I want to have at some point. Maybe I just keep going in a different direction than it's planned. But I hope that at least one person got some value out of this, because I know that a lot of people struggle with this. And leave a thumbs up, leave recommendations for more videos in the description, and in the end recognize that you are your own person. Don't care about the opinions of others, and read the book The Courage to Be Disliked, and in the end everything will work out this way if you just keep going. Cheers.